Hello students and welcome to the YouTube channel of Get Set Law by IMS. I'm your verbal ability mentor Sanjana ma'am, and I've come up with another session which is going to help you bolster or boost your vocabulary here, right? I've already done 2 such sessions previously, and in each of those sessions I have come up with 5 words for which you have to figure out the correct synonym, because I feel it's one of the best ways to learn. So essentially what we're targeting in these videos, which I'm trying to come up with more frequently throughout the month, is that we're going to learn word clusters in a way, right? It's not like I have, given all the questions on word clusters, but most likely with each word, I will also try, if I'm able to recall myself, and share some synonyms of the words. So at least 20 words are what we're going to, remember, study, and encounter in just 5 to 6 minutes, which is such a good way of boosting your vocabulary, right? So please ensure that you watch those two, previously recorded videos as well. It's just going to help you a lot. And literally spending 5 minutes on learning vocabulary is one of the easiest ways to do so, right? Instead of just reading articles and then writing down the words in a notebook, which is also nice, but it's a bit more tedious and cumbersome, right? So having said that, let's take a look at the first word that ma'am has come up with today. So the word is antiquated, which is a high frequency word, and it's only fair that you know the meaning of it. Now, antiquated is something which is ancient, it's old fashioned, it's old school, right? So the correct synonym for it would be archaic, right? Now, archaic is also something which means old fashioned, right? Old fashioned, right? Tyro is somebody who's just new, right? And who's an amateur, he's just a beginner. Another word for tyro would be a novice, right? And cryptic is something which is difficult to understand, right? It's difficult to understand. And contemporary means belonging to the present time, to the modern time, right? Which is actually, in a way, the opposite of antiquated. So, antiquated, in fact, if you've heard of the word antiques, right? You purchase antiques from Georgia, right? So, antiques is, items belonging to the old eras, right? So, antiquated, and therefore the work would be archaic for it, right? Let's take a look at the second word quickly. And the word, I know this might be new for a lot of you, but very often when you're preparing for exams that require a high level of vocabulary, this is the word. It's called esoteric, which is actually something which is understood only by a select few people, right? It's a sort of knowledge which is understood by a few, right? And the correct synonym for it, therefore, would be arcane, and it has the exact meaning as esoteric. So these two become word clusters. Now, what is wrong with lucid is that lucid refers to something which is very clear, very radiant, because it comes from the word root luck, which is light, right? So lucid is the opposite, in fact. And translucent also, again, we know what it means, but it's not the meaning of esoteric. And cogent again means when you express something in very clear terms, she made very cogent arguments, for example, which again is the opposite of esoteric, right? So the correct synonym for this would be arcane. I know there's also a series, I think, which is on Netflix, right, by the name of Arcane. So Arcane is something which only a few people understand, right? And a new word I know, 2 new words in fact, and close to 4-5 words we've learned from this one word itself. Next word, erudite, which not everybody knows, but you have heard of the word, right? From erudite, we get the word erudition. Now, erudition is knowledge, so erudite is a knowledgeable person, right? And the exact synonym for it would be perspicacious, which actually refers to somebody who has very, clear, sharp insight, somebody who has a very good knowledge of the worldly affairs, who can solve complex problems, right? So, perspicacious refers to that quality that an individual might have. Erudite is knowledgeable and perspicacious comes close to it. Opaque is something from which, light does not pass through. So it means it's something which is difficult to understand. So it's the opposite, not the exact opposite of erudite, but definitely not erudite. And gullible refers to somebody who's really naive, very, very innocent, right? Very unsuspecting here. And audacious is somebody that's really bold, right? So again, 5 words, but I just hope that all of you will never forget what erudite means now and perspicacious means now. Let's take a look at the next word, which is important, and it's calumny. Calumny is when you do something, you say something, especially with the intention of tarnishing somebody's reputation. So it's the same as slandering a person's reputation, damaging somebody's reputation. Another close word for this could be denigrate, right? Another close word for it could be disparage, right? Especially when you're doing it with the intention of hurting somebody's reputation. So casting aspersions on somebody also means, tarnishing their reputation, saying bad things about them. So the exact synonym for calumny would be aspersion. Reverence and veneration are the same. These are synonymous with each other, which means to worship somebody, to respect somebody, to idolize them. An acknowledgement is an acceptance of something, appreciating something also very often has a very positive degree to it. So, here itself, calumny, slander, denigrate, disparage, right? We have 4 words and 4 more words, 8 words, just like that we have learned here. And let's take a look at the last word, which I know again not a lot of you would know the meaning of, salacious. Now, if the contents of a book are salacious, it just has, reference to a lot of explicit terms, So the exact synonym for this would be debauchery. So debauchery is a behavior of overindulgence. You're drinking, you're doing drugs, and you're just indulging in a lot of immoral behavior, right? So salacious is there. And let me give you another word for it. It's called bacchanalian, right? Bacchanalian, which is actually a drunken revelry of sorts. It's a drunk party again, where people are indulging in boisterous behavior, behavior which is inappropriate, right? There's a lot of excessive drinking and all of that. So the book was censured for its salacious content, salacious plot, right? Sacrosanct actually means something which can never be questioned. Sacrosanct is something which is very precious. There is just no way we can question it. When I say that somebody's salary is going to get credited on the 10th of the month, and that date is sacrosanct, which means it's going to happen on that date, right? And impeccable is the quality of something being perfect, something being flawless, right? So I'm just going to write it here, perfect or flawless, right? And veracious is the quality of somebody never lying, somebody always telling the truth, somebody being very trustful, right? And with this, we come to the end of this session, a very quick session, but super knowledgeable and informative, right? You have learned so many words. And in case you feel that you have a tendency to forget the meaning of the words, do use them in your daily sentences, right? Whenever you want to, frame sentences. If you can frame sentences at the time of watching the video, please, do remember to frame a sentence and leave it in the comments, right? And if you want me to do more such videos, please let me know. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.